guys, welcome back. It's Josh with the Financial Advisor Car Guy. This week I wanted to piggyback a little bit on what we discussed last week when it came to the supercar market and how the world we're living in has not really caused a market crash in a lot of high-end supercars. Wow, a lot's changed in a week. While the stock market hasn't really gotten hit too badly this week, what we have seen in the car industry is a huge influx of cars from crypto investors. If you remember a couple, 2, 3, 4 years ago, a lot of these guys were literally becoming millionaires overnight because of the crypto boom. And much of that was Bitcoin specifically, but Dogecoin and some of these others, even Ethereum, Litecoin, there's a number of them, right? That all have skyrocketed and then kind of fallen off. Well, with that comes liabilities, right? Sometimes people can't maintain the lifestyle that they once did when they had money if they don't have it anymore. If I were a Bitcoin investor or a crypto investor, I feel like it would have been an emotional roller coaster, but at the same time, I like to think that I know myself. I think I would have taken some gains at the top, or at least as close to the top as I could have, and put them into some safer investments and then let the rest kind of ride. There's no shame there. But what I think most of these people did is they were inexperienced. I don't want to call them gamblers, but that's kind of what they did. They gambled on the crypto market, and they put, maybe in some cases, their entire life savings into a crypto, whether it be Bitcoin or not. And it's shot up. They made millions of dollars. They probably cashed out some to buy a house, buy some cars, live comfortably. And then they sat on the rest of their Bitcoin, which has now fallen to very little. So anyway, the long and short of it is the market's been flooded with a lot of these very stereotypical cars that crypto millionaires were buying. I was reading an article by somebody, Jalopnik, or one of these online media guys, and they were saying that G-Wagons, Mercedes boxy SUVs, have dropped 30% in value this year alone. That's way worse than the stock market. You think about early January, February, G-Wagons brand new were selling for over $300,000. And today, they're back to MSRP. There's no more wait lists. You can buy them off the dealer lot if you want to, or you can buy one that's a year or two old with only a few miles. Really like a couple thousand miles for $160,000, $170,000. And what that's done it's basically brought the entire car market down from a percentage standpoint. A few of these big models that have taken massive hits have shown some vulnerability to the car market. The other ones are McLaren. McLarens are all over the board. You can find used ones for as little as, $100,000, $125,000. New, they could go up if you're talking about a P1 or a Senna. You're looking at $2.5 million. Now, those $2.5 million cars might come down a little bit, but they're exclusive enough, they're rare enough, they're a hypercar. People who are looking at buying a hypercar are not directly impacted the same way you and I are, with an 8% rate of inflation, with a 20% stock market pullback. These are not people that, maybe, but a small percentage. These are not people that made their money on Bitcoin. So when it comes to the high-end hypercar, exotic car, supercar market, you're a little more protected. But these, I'll call them entry-level supercars, the R8s of the world, some of the Lamborghini, the Gallardos, and even the Huracans, the Ferrari Californias of the world, the least expensive models of these high-end car brands are starting to feel a little bit of pressure. But I wouldn't say they're the most susceptible. They've kind of bottomed out. They've kind of hit a floor. And, then it's the next model up that's starting to feel the pressure. If I've got $100,000 and I want a Ferrari, I either have my options of, an old 360, an F430, or if I want a more current model, I look at the Ferrari California. Those are all in the $100,000 range. You know, some examples are a little lower, especially if they have super high mileage or branded or reconstructed titles. But then even some of them, I've seen F430s this week in the 150, 160 range. Californias are about that range too, once you get to like 2014, 15, 16. And then from there, the 360 Modinas, they don't tend to get a whole bunch higher than 100 grand, maybe 120, especially if it's a gated manual, you know, maybe a little more than 120. But, you know, those cars in automatic form can be had for 80 or 90 grand pretty commonly. So it's not that bottom rung layer of cars that's most susceptible to the market adjustments. It's the rung right above that, because those are people that maybe stretched a little tight to buy them in the first place, and they have felt a little more depreciation because they did not buy at the bottom. So that's kind of the car market we're seeing this week. Now, again, last week's report was quite a bit different. This week's report, you know, again, those G-Wagon sales have really plummeted 30% this year. You know, and there were wait lists. People were selling their spot in the wait list. They were not even taking delivery. They were making money by putting $1,000 down and then selling their spot in line for $10,000 or $20,000 so that the next guy could buy it at MSRP. That's a pretty cool game to play when the market allows it, but you know, we're kind of falling away from that. We're not going to see a whole bunch of that moving forward for the foreseeable future. You know, again, interest rates are high enough that unless you need a new car, you're probably not buying one right now. So, you know, a lot of the sticker adjustments, the market adjustments, and the dealer markups and those kind of things, my guess is they'll start to go away. But again, cash is king. So if you've got somebody who's sitting on a bunch of cash and needs a new vehicle, you know, they're happy to pay MSRP. Most of them aren't going to want to pay a huge premium, but might be willing to pay a small one if it's a more rare or harder to get or a more desirable vehicle. Are you guys seeing that in your neck of the woods? I mean, for me, I look at Car Gurus, I look at Auto Trader, I look at Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. There's not a lot of exotics there for me in my area, but occasionally I'll see, you know, something somewhat exotic in my area. I mean, there was a period of time, there were like 4 R8s within a 80 mile or 100 mile radius that were for sale, and that's pretty unheard of. You know, there might be 1 or 2 at any one time, but for there to be 4 seemed a little crazy. What this has done for me personally is had me reconsider the car that I've got, the R8. I don't want to sell it, but looking at, again, the softening of a higher level of car does make my wheels turn a little bit. I mean, in theory, my R8, I could still get what I paid for it. I still feel really solid about that. I might be able to make a little bit of money. I will for surely recoup everything that I bought it for and put into it. No doubt in my mind, even in today's market as things soften. But what I could do is theoretically sell it to break even, just to fire sale it, and then roll my proceeds, I mean, or my cash back or whatever you want to call it, but I could take those dollars and then rebuy something that is more depressed. Maybe I buy a McLaren that's down 20% or 25%. Maybe I buy one of these entry-level Ferraris. I've been wanting to do that for a long time. I've always wanted a Ferrari, and I never really saw myself in one. I mean, I've always wanted one, but that's just the car guy of me, you know, just thinking the pinnacle of the automotive world is having some, you know, fine Italian supercar in my garage, whether it be an F430 or whether it be a convertible California. I have no idea what that looks like, but, you know, I think that the time is coming where some really previously high value dollar cars are going to become more attainable. And that's, again, where having cash on hand, or at least being in a position to buy, is going to be advantageous for you. I definitely think that the car market, the bottom won't fall out, but I definitely think that, we're going to start seeing a little bit of a shift. Regular, everyday, ordinary cars will continue to depreciate as they have and as they should. But I definitely think that just like, my mentality when I got into my R8 is that if I can get into it for the right deal, at the right price with the right options, I think I've said those exact words before, I won't lose. I might not make a bunch of money, but if I don't lose it, that's the important thing to me, because I bought it to enjoy it. I didn't buy it to put it under a cover and let it sit there for 5 years and then sell it for more than I paid. My whole agenda with that car was, it was a car I wanted. It was a car that I finally could attain, and it's something that hopefully won't lose value. It can just maintain value and stay where it is, and I'd be happy with that. I think that's great. I would call that a win. And other people might say, well, you didn't make money, so what are you talking about? No, but I had plenty of enjoyment and I got to use it for a couple of years, right? That's great. I call that a win. So I'd be curious to know what you guys are seeing. If you're looking at supercars or not, what is the car market doing in your neck of the woods? Is it plateaued? Is it falling? Is it rising? I can't imagine that. But what do you guys see? Are there trends that you see? Please share that with me. I'm curious to know. On a national level, I think the market's softening some for some vehicles, but I don't think it's going to collapse. Maybe in certain demographics, in certain areas, or in certain, pockets of the country, we may see things pull back some more than others. But I think that where I'm at, I'm pretty safe. I think that my current vehicles are relatively safe from massive depreciation. And I'm pleased with that. So share your thoughts, share your questions, share your concerns. Please like and share. I love making these videos. We're almost 2 complete years through this, which is awesome. But most importantly, remember, may every investment you make be a good one. Until next time.